questions on that before we do a slightly more
No.
difficult one? All right, so I'm gonna write the next problem here on the screen. Let's go 5 minus 2x to the power of 3/4. Um, I want you to write something in root form with a square root symbol. I don't want to write anything because I don't want to bias you, but I'm going to write the answer after you're done.
So would it just be
Let
I
me
don't know how
write
to
the answer.
explain it.
Yeah, let me write the answer, and then you tell me if this is what you had written.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all that they're asking for.
Okay.
All right. So I'm putting problems like the ones that you. So, excuse me. Um, let's look at some answers. Square root of 81, x to the fourth, y to the seventh. Okay. So this is a new problem here. So the first thing you're going to do here is you break this apart into the square root of 81, square root of x to the fourth, and the square root of y to the seventh. You remember us doing that before?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the square root of 81? How to calculate that?
Um, square root 81, 9.
So that's just 9. Okay. Now this when you like there's really, if you remember, that square root symbol really means the 1/2 power. Do you remember that from earlier?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're gonna take this four above the x, and you're gonna multiply it by 1/2 or divide it by 2, whichever you prefer. So that becomes x squared. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the 7 does not divide evenly. Okay. Doesn't divide evenly. So we're going to break this one up into the square root of y to the 6th times y to the 1. 6 and 1 make 7.
Okay.
Is that it's an odd number, so we're going to split it apart. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. Now becomes the square root of y to the 6th times the square root of y. So we're breaking this thing apart just like we did the original. Use that 1/2 thing for y to the 6th. What does that become?
Um, it would be 2/3.
You're taking half of 6.
Oh, 3.
3, y cubed.
Okay.
So do you have something written down here? Because I want to give you one like this, not the same, obviously, but something like this to try. And do you have any questions also? These are really similar, just different numbers.
Um, wait, what?
Do you have this down in your notes? Because I want to give you one just like this with
Yeah,
different numbers
I
for you to
got it.
try. Okay. All right. Okay. It's really similar. It's like the same steps, just different numbers. Do you want to try this on your own, please?
Okay. Okay, I got 10 x 4 y squared. I might have messed up on one of the parts though.
Square root of y is left over.
Yeah.
I'll bet you're pretty confident on the basketball floor. Would you say that's true?
Yeah.
So how do we get you to be more confident when you're doing math?
Mm, I don't even know. It's just
Well, that's
so.
my goal. That's my goal here is to help you get more confidence because it sounded like you did everything right. And then at the end, you're like, well, I don't know.
I feel it just feels off like doing that.
Yeah, well, that I agree with that. I mean, but my point is that you're able to do this. You just need a little bit more of encouragement at this point.
Yeah.
Did you have this written down? Like I heard the first part, but I didn't know if you had that last part.
No, I forgot that.
Okay. So let's do one more here. Um, if you clearly broke apart y to the fifth as square root y to the fourth times y to the one, and then square root of y to the fourth times square root of y. Just don't leave that part out for this next one. All right.
Okay.
I'll leave you one more here to try. Let's go square root of 9 x to the 10th, y to the 8th, z to the power of 3. So it's slightly more difficult, but it's the same style of problem. You still have to break them apart like you've been doing.
Okay.
Any questions for me as you work through that?
Oh no, not so far. Okay, I solved it, but like the last part is a little weird with the three. That's the only thing I'm confused on.
So let's look at that together.
I
This
can tell
breaks
you what I
apart.
put.
Yeah, let me just show you here. Maybe you want to modify your answer. In all the examples we've been doing, we've been going down by one. So to the net
Yeah,
from the odd number to the even, then putting a one there. Did you do that?
yeah,
Okay, what is half of two then?
one.
Okay, so you should have a z to the one. So yeah, tell me what you got for your final answer.
9x, the 5 over the x, the 5 to the power, whatever.
Yep.
Y4. And then, see, like, is it just like Z1 or just Z?
So it's just z or z1. That's fine.
And then the symbol with the Z.
Square root. All right. Now,
Okay,
what is the square root of nine?
3.
There you go. Don't get caught up on how to say it. Just tell me what you have.
Okay.
It's not that important. This isn't an English class or a Spanish class where the wording matters. Okay, we're going to move to a different type of problem here. All right. So, do you remember anything about solving this type of equation?
Mm. You you have to write out and then subtract the 4, right?
You have to undo this symbol that keep kind of avoiding what it's called, but it's the square root symbol. So you undo a square root. You undo a square root with a square. And you undo a square with a square root. So the analogy in math is like you undo addition with subtraction, you undo subtraction with addition. There's always
Yeah,
operators undo each other. In the basketball world, you see a certain type of defense, you may make a certain play call. So
yeah.
we know this. So you undo the square root. This is a square root. You undo a square root with a square. So you're going to square both sides of the equation. The square undoes the square. I mean, it goes away. It eliminates it.
Okay, I think I know how to do this.
All right. You want to carry it out from here then, please?
Okay, let me try. Would it be 7?
It is 7, yeah.
Okay.
3z plus 4 equals 25. When you subtract 4, you get 21. Divide by 3, you get z equals 7. So the key thing for you here is to recognize like how you undo it. So let me give you another problem to try here. Let's say it's 4x. No, I can't do that. Let me do 5x. 5x minus 1 equals 7 square root like that. So whenever you see the square root operator, you have to know to undo it with a square by squaring both sides. And then it just undoes it, right? It just completely goes away. All right, so what does the next line look like here? What's the next thing I should write?
Um, 5x minus 1 equals 7 times 7. So 49.
Good. Go ahead and solve the rest of it from there.
Ten. X equals 10.
X equals 10. Good. Okay. Now we're going to solve a different style of problem. It's kind of got some of the same elements. So let's say it's the cube root of x minus 1 equals -3. Okay. So now in the previous problem, like I wrote like the square root of x minus 1 or something, and we undid it with a square, but we didn't say why. The reason is there was really a 2 there. When nothing is written, it's a 2, and these have to match. Okay, so if you see a cube, if you see a cube root here on the left, so there's a 3 there, you're going to undo it with a power of 3 on both sides of the equation. So it has to be whatever is in here.
Okay.
So this becomes x minus 1 equals, what is -3 times -3 times -3?
27.
Try again. It's -3 times -3 times -3.
Negative 27.
Yes, there you go. There you go. There's the difference. Okay, now what do we do to solve this?
Um, plus 1 to the
Yep.
20, negative 20. Okay. Is that
Any
it?
questions? That's it. Now I'm going to give you one to try, and then we'll have to increase the difficulty slightly. But any questions though before we proceed?
No.
Okay. See, I give you the cube root of 2x plus 1 equals, let me change this up here, equals -3. That'll work. Go ahead and solve this for x, please.
I got 2x equals 7. And
But you're cubing both sides. Like this is exactly the same as the previous problem. 2x
I think
plus
I
1
think I messed up
equals,
on the 2x. Then is where I went wrong.
well, what is -3 times -3 times -3?
Hey, oh
We just did this.
yeah, it's -27.
Okay, so now we got, how do you solve this?
-1
Okay,
to the -27.
what does that become? What is -27 minus 1?
Negative 20, -26.
Try again. They're both negative, so yes, the answer is negative, but there, there's a rule here, like, and you're allowed to use a calculator at the
Oh,
end.
negative 28.
There you go. Okay, last step is to divide by 2.
-14.
X is -14. Very good.
Okay, let me write this
Okay,
down. Hold on.
yeah, get this down because I got to get you to do one all the way through on your own.
You just go like a little up.
Of course, you tell me if that's enough for it.
I'm just gonna rewrite the whole thing. Hold on. Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions? That's maybe more important. Is not just seeing the.
Mm-mm.
Okay,
I
so let
think
me give you one to try
I
here.
just got confused with the two.
All right, so it's the cube root of 3x minus 1 equals -4. It's the same set of steps, but different numbers. So, you're not going to get the same answer, but give that a try, please.
X equals -21.
Got it. Very good. Okay, so one like little, just tiny little wrinkle. Um, we're going to move on to something else, but I want to just make this point here before we move on. Of course, I can't get the picture. There it is. All right. So your original problem that all these were based on looked like this, which is kind of like what we've been doing. Okay. But you have to isolate the root. Now you play basketball, so you know what an isolation play is. You
Yeah.
can't have anything else there. So like, see how this is +2? Uh, you have to get rid of it. Does that make sense? Like it's got to be the only thing on that side of the equation.
Yeah.
So if you see something like that, you can't just cube both sides. You have to move it first. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay. Right. So now there's some other types of quadratic root equations to solve, and one of them is where it's a variable on the other side of the equation. So this is an example of that. So when nothing is written, it's a square root. There's really a 2 here that's unwritten. All right, so do you remember how to undo a square root?
Um. Hold on. Let me just write this down.
Okay.
Um, 30. What? 7x.
Before you get too far into that, what I'm trying to get you to tell me is that you're going to square both sides. You're going to square because it's the square root.
Okay.
Is that okay so far?
Yeah.
Okay, now you're to solve this, you have to get everything on one side of the equation, and generally you want the x squared to be the positive. So you're going to move the 7x minus 7x over, you're going to move the 30 over, subtract 30, you're going to add 7x, x squared plus 7x minus 30. So now it's like it's transformed into a new type of problem here. All right, and so do you remember how to solve this by factoring? Does that look at all familiar to you?
Um. Yeah. So it would
So you're trying to find two numbers that multiply to minus 30, but then add
equal to
the
7.
7.
-10 and +3.
So x plus 3, x minus 10. You set each of these equal to 0. So it's x plus 3 equal to 0, x minus 10 equal to 0. What is the result when you solve those?
X equals -3 and x equals 10.
Okay. Now, to keep it simple without getting into a lot of explanation, for now, just cross out the one that's negative. That is not a solution. If you would like some explanation, I'm happy to provide that, but
I'm trying
just
to
to keep it,
remember how to do like the check method because like you just like
you're
put
supposed
in
to, yeah,
you put in the
exactly,
answer you get into the equation, right?
Right, and you're welcome to do that. It just, for us, we gotta get the most out of our lesson, so. Do you need to get any of this down on your paper before I give you one to try that's just like it, just different numbers?
No,
You got it? All right,
yeah.
so here's one for you to try. Ask me some questions if you're unsure.
So you have to find something to get to -20 and what else? Just what's X? Is this one?
So there's a one in front of the X when there's nothing written. Does that make sense? Like it's,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, 'cause-
because like, I would just ask you, well, how did you know to add one? Well, because it's -1. That's why you added one there. So yeah, two numbers that multiply to -20 but add to +1. And that means they're one apart. So you should get X plus 5, X minus 4,
4. Okay.
and then solve those for X. Let me know if you think any of them should be excluded.
So X equals -5 and X equals 4.
Yeah, and you would check those and you would find that -5 does not work.
Okay.
All right, now there's one more type of problem that you'll see. And by the way, we're not covering everything on your test. We just don't have time. And this is like the most likely stuff that you can get right. You probably need another lesson to get like fully prepared, or maybe ask your teacher for some help during the test. Um, so this is kind of like the previous problem. There's a square root on one side, and by the way, this is like 13 on your test practice thing. So you're still going to square both sides. All right, so you still square both sides. That's no different. But because there's more than just a letter, it's r plus 2 squared. That means it's r plus 2 times r plus 2. Do you remember how to simplify that?
Um,
Remember the
foil.
foil
So
foil foil acronym?
R times the R and the R times two,
Okay.
and the two times the R and the two times the two on the bottom. Yeah.
So we get r squared plus 4r plus 4 equals, it just undoes all that. So now we're going to move these to the other side of the equation. So you move to the side with the highest power, typically. So this becomes r squared plus 2r plus 1 equals 0. And now you're looking for two numbers that multiply to 1, but add to 2. Multiply to 1, but add to 2. So it should be r plus 1, r plus 1. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So it ends up being r equals -1. Let's do one more with our remaining time here like this. We'll do it together. That way we can step all the way through it. Okay. Square root on one side. How do you undo a square root?
Um, so you have to square root both sides, and then
Square both sides. Yeah. This the 2 is a square. This other thing here is a square root.
okay, then
So I'm mostly interested in you telling me what the right side becomes. And it's just like the previous problem. You have to write it out as a binomial times a binomial and then FOIL. So could you do that for us, please?
all right, let me write this down. Okay, so you have to foil. So, mm,
All right, we are running out of time here. I'm going to just jump in here for you. That's the FOIL
okay,
step. I can also tell you're probably pretty tired. Um,
yeah, really tired.
all right.
Probably
So
messing
you
with my thinking, tiredness.
it's all right. The body can actually take a lot more than we think it can. It's our mind that gets weak. All the books on the military and other things suggest that. So this ends up being the exact same type of problem as the previous one. I just wanted you to have another crack at it. So yeah, get that down and we'll close out here for today.
Okay.
We're gonna stop there for today.